Welcome back to another Satisfactory video, where today we're going to take a look at the best starter factory I've ever made, and I don't think it's close. Now, some people over the course of the streams that we've been doing have been saying that this is not really a starter factory, and I would disagree, because we are not producing any components outside of phase 2. Now, in between this episode and our last one, there has been quite a bit of a jump here. We've logged 80 hours on this build, and it's still not perfectly done, but it is pretty close, so I figured it was about time that we covered it on the channel here. The purpose of the last couple videos was to, for one, get through those early technology stages, but also get a lot of coupons. Now, we spent about 100 coupons getting cosmetics, and those cosmetics are allowing us to build some pretty cool things already in the save. Some of the stuff we are already using are the new items like the finishes, the copper finish, the steel finish, unpainted finish, and the chromatic finish. I think all of which we are using somewhere along in the build. Now, as we go through this build, you're going to see that we are heavily using blueprints. Now, if you're new to the channel, you may not know, but we like using blueprints around here, and I like using them and showing you guys how to build awesome factories that are super detailed pretty easily. On screen are some shots with Lumen, as we do build the factory with Lumen in mind, because here soon I will be getting a new PC, and we will be live streaming to both YouTube and Twitch with Lumen on all the time. And Lumen makes this game look insane. So if you're not already using Lumen and you have a decent enough PC, I recommend turning it on. And the first thing I want to talk about is the structure that we built this factory in. Okay, so hopping in game here, we can see that when we're on the ground, this thing is quite tall actually. I think it's 6 floors. I actually haven't counted, so we can do that in this video. But this whole thing was built on stream, which is kind of why this video has taken so long. I tend to be quite unproductive on stream, but that's okay. Going through the entrance here, we enter the maze area, which is what I call this, and I have turned off Lumen. That's why it's going to look a little bit different. But the first thing we can get to is our central storage. Now, this is storing all of our items we are producing here, and that includes all of our basic components like wire, cable, plates, rods, screws, concrete, quick wire, copper sheets, and then all of our advanced components for our tier. So that is our rotors, reinforced plates, AI limiters, motors, and modular frames. And then we do have steel production here as well, and we are making beams, pipes, and encased beams. So there is a variety here, but it's all phase 2 components, so it's nothing super advanced. It just is quite big because I wanted to design it. And something else that I wanted to mention real quick is that we are using Dimensional Depot on all of these items. So if I open up my inventory here, we have reinforced plates, copper sheets, all of our items here, except silica. So we don't have silica or quartz, and I believe we don't have biofuel. But almost all of the items that we kind of use and consume besides biofuel stuff and the quartz is now automated, which means the next production factory we need to make is going to be a quartz factory. I have set up a tiny little bit of production, but it's not an actual factory. It's just a little platform that is making that stuff for us, just temporarily, so we can kind of get through this, again, early stage progression. So this first floor is making a few different components here. We have a bunch of iron. This is all iron right here being smelted. Each module here, which is what we refer to these as modules right here, these production areas, can refine 270 iron ore per minute, so we can get a pretty decent amount of iron right here, and that is not overclocked. There are 9 smelters here in each side, and then the other area here for the constructors, this is all iron wire actually. So I love using iron wire, especially early game, along with stitch plating and cast screw as well. Those 3 recipes really work well together because we can make our copper wire and our cable all from iron, which is pretty awesome. There are unfinished parts of this build, like I said, and this is one of them. This is a elevator showcase for our vertical bus going between floors, and as you can see, it's not done, but we are working on it. And something I've experimented with actually right here is this weird little door thing. I don't know if I like it. I can't decide, but it looks really weird. But yeah, walking around without Lumen, it does get, quite dark, and it does not look as good as with Lumen on. And again, within a few episodes, hopefully, we should have the new PC, which means we should be able to record with Lumen and not have to worry about any issues. But this is floor 1. So this is, again, basic components. We got to go find our staircase over here, which is right over here. And turning on Lumen, this place looks pretty awesome, I think, at least. The blue and the kind of orange or like warm mood lighting here really work well together. And I think I've used this combination before in a couple blueprints before, and I really like this, man. I'm a big fan of blue in general, and I like using the kind of like the more orange lighting, just because the white lighting can kind of wash out some other stuff, and I thought it worked really well with this copper finish. One note is that when I started building this factory, I didn't actually plan to have coated concrete foundations in this factory, but it kind of worked out to where all I had to do was go put down a refinery and get plastic because we had unlocked the milestone. And so I elected to do that so I could get the coated concrete foundations because they just look so good. And I thought it would really elevate the starter factory look, and it kind of does. So that's probably the most advanced thing that we have going on in this, but you could totally just use concrete, which is what I originally planned on doing. So before we go on to all the other floors, I do want to note we do have logistic floors for all these blueprints. If I pull out this blueprint highlighter, you can see each tile is its own production blueprint, and we also have walkways attached to the side. So again, this whole factory is kind of blueprint spam, really. And so you can see we have really tall logistic floors, and keen eyes will notice that these are actually taller than our walking floors. And that is just to allow plentiful room for logistics and not have to worry about clipping and all that jazz. And, you know, having taller walkable floors for these type of buildings doesn't really make sense. But pretty much all of our floors kind of look the same. They kind of have the same production module areas stacked on top of each other and the same walkways stacked on top of each other. And so as we go up, we're going to do more complex items. So you see here, we're bringing in wire on this one and making a cable on that constructor specifically, but then we're outputting steel screw or cast screw, sorry. So we're outputting screws with cast screw right here, and I think this whole module is actually all screws because we're making about 450 screws maybe. Oh no, never mind, I lied, we have pipes right here. So it's kind of a mix around, but it's almost all screws, and that is allowing us to make a bunch of rotors per minute to throw into motors. And some numbers for you, because I said this factory is not actually making that many items per minute. We're only storing about 4 rotors per minute and about 5 motors per minute, 2.5 modular frames, and I believe 5 reinforced plates per minute, or rips as I call them. This staircase with the showcase glass and everything is honestly becoming one of my favorite parts about the whole build. I didn't know that I would like it that much, but I really do like it. And I believe this floor right here, yep, has a kind of a balcony or patio area up here. I do have the hub placed over here. It kind of fits just fine. And you'll see that we kind of cut out this area. And this is because when I was building, I noticed that the Mothman, or the big manta ray, flies right through here. And so we had to keep shaving down the side of the building to avoid all of the clipping. There are a couple spots where there's like one animation where his wing barely clips one pillar over here. And so I will be, again, addressing that in the future. But for now, we are, for the most part, done with that sort of stuff. And I decided to kind of forego some of the real micro detailing on the walls and whatnot, just because I feel like this factory I could easily spend another 100 hours on, and maybe that might get a little boring to some people. And I do want to get into our next project, which will be a diluted packaged fuel plant, because during all of this building I've been prepping for the next build as well. So if we go to the MAM here, I have a hard drive library tab that has a bunch of recipes stacked here. I have been hunting for one specific recipe, and that is heavy oil residue. And I have gotten a ton of recipes that are not heavy oil residue. I'm getting absolutely trolled by the game, and I don't know how to feel about it. Because if we look at the packaged diluted fuel, this alternate right here takes 30 heavy oil residue to make 60 fuel. It's a great ratio. You just need some packaged water and boom, you get your fuel. But this recipe really shines when you have heavy oil residue as an alternate, because you can make it as a primary output instead of a byproduct, which means you could turn 30 crude oil into 40 heavy oil residue. Now I can't show you that right now because obviously I don't have the recipe unlocked yet. So the only way I can make it right now is with plastic or rubber, and we only get 20 instead of 40, so we're really not going to get that much heavy oil residue. It's going to be really inefficient to do that. So I do need to keep hunting for hard drives in between this episode and the next, and try to get that. But a couple updates on recipes. I do have Caterium computer, and I have a really awesome alternate for circuit boards called Caterium circuit board here. Both these combined together make it to where you can make the most amount of computers per minute at a manufacturer, I believe, at 3.75, and the only resources we have to put into the whole production line is plastic, quick wire, and rubber. That is ridiculous. That is so awesome. And so we will definitely be using this line of production because because it's also quite fast. One recipe I'm also still hunting for is a encased heavy modular frame, which basically replaces screws for concrete and lowers the amount of modular frames you need and increases your heavy modular frame production, I believe, or maybe lowers it, I'm not sure, but it really is maybe the best alternate for heavy modular frames that you can have. So I'm still hunting for that as well. So all that to say, I'm getting kind of lucky, but also shafted in what I need, because we cannot start the next project, which will be a fuel plant, until we get, well, the one recipe that I need. And then the only other piece of technology that we've kind of gone through is getting and unlocking the packaged biofuel, because I grabbed a bit of plastic from a refinery over by our power area in the blue crater over there. I have now also unlocked the packaged biofuel, which is ridiculous in the jetpack. If you guys did not know, it lasts absurdly long, and as long as you have some momentum, you can really fly across the map pretty far. There are ways with Mark V belts and whatnot to actually, in combination with the packaged biofuel, to literally fly across the whole map. So it is crazy good. So if you guys don't know, definitely start using this as your fuel source. I mean, you can see in the bottom left here, my fuel is going down barely at all. And you guys may be curious about the blueprints that I'm using for this build. They are all already on Patreon. There may be a few that are not on there yet, but for the most part, at least all the production and hallway ones are on here, along with this like arch thing. Maybe some of the lighting stuff is not on there yet, but yeah, it should all be on Patreon. You can check that out and download those blueprints. Also, at the end of the month, at the end of every month actually, we are doing a save file upload, so you guys can kind of experience the world if you so wish, because this build is just the beginning. So if you think this build is insane, you better lock in, because we are going to be building some crazy factories and some crazy builds, especially with getting the new PC. I'll be able to really up the quality. We are still waiting on Fixit Cam, or the mod manager, to be working. So once Fixit Cam is working and updated for 1.0, you best believe I will also be using Fixit Cam and really showing you guys some awesome shots of the factories that we are building. If you guys are interested in knowing how I kind of come up with these blueprints and figure out how they work together and all of that stuff, for one, I do stream everything live. So when we create almost every blueprint on the channel, it's live, and we come up with the designing and the overall shape and all of that and how they work together live on stream. It can take a little bit and be a little bit slow, but you know, we do get it done. But if you're looking for a guide at all to how we kind of do blueprint creation and how we work them into factories, I do have a previous guide from update 8. It's a little outdated at this point, especially with us having the Mark II and III blueprint designers in the game now, but I do think it would be of some use. And if you want a updated variant, which I think would probably be very useful, do let me know down below, and I will definitely start working on that right away. I'm also going to be working on some new train video stuff, so that is going to be junction designs and stuff like that. And then also we are going to continue obviously building on our let's play and making some insane builds this way. If any of that sounds like it might be of interest to you, make sure to subscribe, and you can even turn on notifications, that way you get notified when I upload. And if live streams are at all your thing, feel free to go follow me on Twitch. It's free, and it definitely helps me out. We're trying to hit 1,000 followers before the end of the year on Twitch over there. So again, if that seems like something that maybe you might be interested in, feel free to do that. I originally planned to make a step-by-step video on this factory, but I did not plan for it to be this big. I really didn't plan out the scaling properly. So while we don't have a lot of production per minute, the thing is quite big. And I think that is a telling sign of what's to come for the save. I think we're going to have a ton of big builds, and it's going to be very fun. So maybe you get some inspiration from this design. Maybe you find something that you want to kind of sample and take. All of that is totally awesome, and I love when people kind of tell me that they actually do find some inspiration, or you know, find some designs they really like that they want to use. It does happen, and I welcome all of that, because I love seeing people build stuff that maybe they didn't know they could, and then surprising themselves and building something that they're super proud of. But that's probably going to do it for this video. It's not super crazy. The next video, we will be doing that diluted fuel. I don't know when it will come out, but I will try to get it done relatively quick. Thank you guys so much for watching, and again, thank you guys for all the support recently. 1.0 has been pretty crazy, like way crazier than I ever thought it could have been. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Let me know any feedback that you have, and anything you may want to see in the future, whether that's informative or maybe just designs or whatever. And if you guys again want any blueprints or save files, they will be uploaded on Patreon. Until next time, peace.
you left in thirds. You pitching verbs, I knock it out, I'm flipping birds. While smoking herbs, I'm blocking out what often hurts. I'm moving herds, it's me, my family, money.